Welcome to this episode of the Publish Live podcast, and we have another interview with a very special guest. His name is Nick Morrison. He started as a student of AIA and now has taken on a very big role with the company. He is a coach. He does one-on-one coaching calls, group coaching calls, and he's the community manager of the AIA community. So, hey, Nick.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
How are you guys doing today?
Very well.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Awesome. I'm really happy to be here. This is, I think it's going to be a lot of fun because everybody knows me, obviously, but I feel like my main focus most of the time is, doling out advice, but also trying to focus on like students. I think there's parts of my story and parts of my life and things that I have to share that a lot of people aren't aware of. So
yeah,
I'm kind of excited to share some of that today. Hopefully we'll have time for it.
Please. I'm really excited to hear that. I'm also excited for this because inside the Facebook community, everyone knows you, but a lot of people know you as, the no bullshitter, the guy who just gives you, he shoots you straight, gives you the advice you need to hear. And some people can take it the wrong way, but the truth is it's nothing but love and genuine care for every
100%.
single person. That's why tough love and that straight shooter mentality is given. Because we care about your actual results and success. So if you're within 100%. AA, then you probably know the reputation that Nick has. But if you're not, some people just don't like the directness sometimes.
Yeah, and it's
just
difficult.
Things get misinterpreted over text, and people like things sugar-coated, and you're not going to waste time or do that.
Yeah, you can't, unfortunately, text and especially Facebook, people apply the filter of their own idiosyncrasies and their day. Like if somebody's come home and they just had a flat tire and now they got to take their car to the shop, like what a pain in the butt. And then they read my very straightforward, no nonsense email or text. And they're like, man, what a jerk he is.
He's upholding the rules of the group.
Yeah.
What is
but
he
it's
doing?
Not, but it's not about being a jerk. It's just, I don't believe that any of us have time here on this earth to mess around. And especially if you're building a business and you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to me or you're coming to the group for help, you deserve a straight answer and a good answer that is going to cut through BS and just fix it. Like if you want to feel good, go talk to your mom. Like, you know what I mean? That's what friends and family are for. They're going to lie to you. They're going to tell you what you want to hear. We don't do that. I don't do that.
You don't do that.
You guys don't do it either.
Exactly. Let's be honest with each other. Like if your title sucks, we have to tell you it fucking sucks.
Because it totally sucks. It's literally the worst part of my day if I have to give somebody bad news.
Yeah, this is so funny. Like we have so many people that post within a Facebook group to post their book covers and say, hey, should I use this one or this one? And the comments that I think all of us always make are, but your book title doesn't even make sense. So why are we even talking about the cover?
Your cover sadly.
Doesn't matter. The topic of your book is stupid. I'm always commenting on the title, not the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, you can't see the forest for the trees. It's like sometimes, the cover comparatively to doing sleek keyword research and finding good keywords and building a good title, the cover designing is fun. Graphic, it's colorful, it's people like it, and then you can ask for feedback and everybody can tell you what a great job you did. And like, that's the fun part, but the hard work sometimes gets a little overlooked.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, I want to talk about you. I want to hear about you and your life specifically from before AIA. I'm curious. How old are you, by the way?
41 and a half.
You're 41.
Yeah.
I mean that positively because you.
No.
I don't
appreciate it. I know. No, 41 and a half.
The same way Dan Locke is also like 44 or something.
Yeah, I think he's 44.
It's hard to believe almost.
Yeah.
He's got the energy of fucking a college kid.
Yeah. Yeah, that dude works long.
And the excitement, So that means you have like 20 years of stuff that have happened as an adult.
Yes.
So did you go to college?
I've seen some shit.
You've seen some shit that I haven't.
I did go to college.
You did?
In Canada, we have two, kind of like the States, but I think in the States you call it community college or maybe vocational college, something like that. So in Canada, we have university and then we have college. University is what you would call college, and then college here is kind of what you would call like the vocational school or trade school, that kind of thing, typically. So yeah, I went to university in the late 90s, before social media, thank God.
Right around when I was born.
Right. And yeah, I got a dual degree. I did drama and I did education, because so to go like way back, I come from a very privileged background. I have a very wealthy family, and I always wanted to be an actor or a musician or a performer of some type.
Mm-hmm.
And when I told them that, it was basically, well, if you go into the arts, we're going to disown you. Really? And I was like, oh, all right, well, but this is what I really love. Like, this is what I want to do.
Ah,
they're like, well, you got to have like a real career. You got to be a doctor or a teacher or a lawyer or whatever. And I was like, teacher? I guess I could still act and teach at the same time. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll be a teacher.
So that was just you trying to make them happy while finding something that you could maybe also like at the same time.
That I could maybe work. Yeah. So I did that. And that was a concurrent 4-year program that we had at the university that I went to. I did well. I got good grades. I did my thing. And actually minored in music, because I've been playing guitar since I was 12. And then piano before that, violin before that. I actually also play Highland bagpipes, but that's a whole other
bagpipes.
Thing. Yeah, everybody
of all things, bagpipes. Yeah. Okay.
But so I graduated and then got into the school system in Canada and realized very quickly that I hated it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I can't do this. There's just no way. And I quit. And I was just like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, but I know I can't work here anymore. And so I quit and kind of reassessed my priorities, figured out what was going on. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Whatever happens with my family happens with my family. And I'm going to go chase this dream of music. Around that time, my grandfather died, unfortunately. And but he was like kind of the linchpin for the entire family. And the family just, lots of stuff happens when patriarchs or matriarchs die, and there's money and there's fighting and there's weird shit happens.
Sounds like it could be a TV show.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to get too much into that, but
yeah.
So he wasn't around for any of that. And obviously, but I went back to school. I went and studied at Berklee College of Music in Boston. And I was like, I'm going to do this guitar thing. And I did. And I got in and I went through the program and studied my butt off. And I did really well. I ended up going out on tour and I recorded with, some artists, and I did a bunch of different stuff for like Sony and CBS and Warner and on and on and on. And had a really good time of it. And I was like, yes, I'm living my dream. This is it. Yes. This is what I want to do. And I was happier than I'd ever been. Wow. And then I was back home for my cousin's
what year was this when you were touring and doing the music?
When I was living my dream, it was like early 2000s. So like 2002, 2004, in that range. And then I was back home for my cousin's wedding, and I was going to perform at I don't remember if it was like the ceremony or maybe it was like the pre-wedding or post-wedding, but it was like, to play some guitar for ambience, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was on the way to the thing, and I got smacked by a Toyota Tacoma. I got T-boned.
Whoa.
And my car flipped around, I think probably 2 or 3 times, and I wound up upside down in a ditch.
Oh my God.
Halfway underwater. Now, of course, I didn't know any of this because I was knocked
instantly
out. I was gone. I didn't wake up for 3 months.
No, Nick, I'm gonna have to stop here. I'm gonna have to stop here. I need a second to take a few breaths.
Yeah, no worries.
So you were obviously very close to losing your life. You were in a coma, I assume, for 3 months. And I still need a second to process this. I'm just blown away right now. Just considering, we know each other, and this is just a crazy life event.
Yes. No, completely life-changing.
Oh my God.
So like in the blink of an eye, I went from successful music career, living my dream, being awesome, driving down a road, going to my cousin's wedding, to waking up in a hospital with like tubes out my nose, blips on my things and meters and beepity beeps and all sorts of shit going on.
If I may ask about this, I have a few questions. Christian, you want to ask first? I want to start with, I'll go in chronological order with that whole event.
Sure.
So again, not that details like this matter, but I kind of care about unfolding it in my mind. So
sure.
How does getting T-boned happen? Did he run a red light and it was green for you and then just done?
Yeah, it was back roads, kind of country roads. So there were no traffic lights. I was traveling probably east-west on like a main rural route, and he was like on a county road. So basically the way it works is like the rural route goes straight through and the county road has a stop sign. In that area of Ontario, it's kind of like the breadbasket. So there's lots of like corn and high growing plants and whatever else. So sometimes you can't see, you have to kind of pull out a little bit. He actually ran the stop sign though. Like he didn't come to a stop and roll into the intersection. He just
didn't slow down.
Didn't slow down, smashed into me. Yeah.
Was
and luckily no, just not paying attention.
Just stupid.
Just expecting that there was not going to be anybody there.
Right.
And, luckily I kind of, the farmer that rescued me and called 911 brought his like tractor out to get my car out of the ditch because he knew that I was in there and I was underwater and it was going to be really bad. So shout out to him, thankfully, for doing that.
Shout out.
Literally I would be dead if it wasn't for him.
Can I ask my second question?
Yeah, second question.
And I have
okay.
So when the moment of impact happened, was your next moment of consciousness 3 months later, or did you remember the rolling and being underwater and then a guy calling and then you lost all consciousness?
I remember nothing. I remember looking to the left and seeing the big fucking Toyota symbol coming towards my eyeball.
So wow.
And that was the last thing I remember.
Is that still vivid in your mind?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't anymore, but I used to have nightmares where I would wake up with that coming at my face.
So when you wake up 3 months later, it must be the biggest confusion.
Oh, super shocker. Super
like what year is it? Where am I? Who am I? What's happened? Like
what's going on?
Question in the world, I imagine.
Yeah. Complete disorientation, complete shock, horror. Like it's the weirdest thing because you're in a daze. You've been out for a long time. I don't know if either of you have ever been unconscious, but it's like that times 10.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know what's happening. So we figure out what's going on. Oh, and this is the best part. Upon waking, I can't move my arm. My left arm, the arm that I need to play guitar, is paralyzed.
Everything else works though.
Everything else is okay. Like my left side's kind of messed up because that's where the impact happened. Like, bruised ribs, cracked, blah, blah, blah. The clavicle was broken. The point was that there's a nerve that runs down kind of from your neck through your shoulder, down your arm. I think it's called the radial ulnar nerve. And the way that the break of my clavicle happened, it pinched that nerve and it cut off the blood supply just long enough to like kill the nerve. And it didn't actually permanently kill it. It actually, so it's called Saturday night palsy, essentially. And if you fall asleep after drinking, fall asleep on your arm funny, you can cut off the same blood supply to that nerve and your arm will basically like die. And it can last anywhere from, 4 hours to 6 hours to several days to months.
I've felt something, I think, similar to that, where you just lose all feeling.
Yeah.
In a hand.
So mine was a little bit more intense than that. It lasted probably 6 or 7 months, but it finally, like the feeling did come back. But the doctors were basically like, yeah, you'll never play guitar again. Like you're lucky you're alive. You're lucky you can walk if you'll walk. Like, and I was like, screw you. I'm going to walk. What the hell are
you talking about? Of course you're going to walk.
Yeah. Right? And so, and I mean, my legs, I was ambulatory. So like, it wasn't the end of the world, but I was able to get up and move around.
Okay.
But I was like, screw you and your ridiculous diagnosis. I'm going to go figure out how to get my arm moving again. And it was literally a case of just lifting teeny tiny little bit. I started with a pen, like just like squeezing it and trying to like lift it up, and getting through it. So that, brought my performance and music career to a grinding halt. In the mid 2000s, 2005, 2006.
Were you on I'm sorry if I may really quick. At the time, were you on like a positive trajectory in your music career?
Oh yeah. Like I was on the way up. Yeah. Fuck. And I was not making my own music. Like I didn't belong to my own band. I wasn't writing really at the time. It was more like I did studio work. I did touring support, that kind of stuff, which to me was like perfect because I didn't have to necessarily be in the spotlight, but I could still be in the spotlight. And it wasn't my career. I was making other people look good, which is what I love to do.
Yeah. You didn't mind?
Yeah, no, it's perfect. That's what it's like. Literally every musician that's a really good musician, that's what they strive to do, is make the singer look amazing or make the other soloist look amazing. Like that's really what it's about.
You get a lot of the benefits without having all the stress and
stress.
pressure.
Yeah,
Of
exactly.
being the rock star or whoever.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
So that was a major shift in my life, and it caused me to, assess a few things. I had a buddy that I went to university with. Actually, we've been friends since grade school, and he lived in Japan at the time. And he was like, Nick, well, you know what? You got, nothing else going on. Come to Japan, come teach English. Maybe you'll meet a nice Japanese girl. Maybe you can get married. At least you'll have some fun, like da da da.
This is if people don't know, Nick speaks Japanese, or at least writes it in. Maybe you can explain how.
Yeah, I vaguely read and write, and I vaguely speak. I speak like a I don't know, like a blue collar trucker. Like, it's pretty bad, especially now. I mean, I haven't lived there since late 2010, so my daily practice has gone completely to garbage.
Man, I love Japan. I can't wait to go back.
It's such a gorgeous country. I absolutely love it.
It's a different world. It feels like a different planet.
Yeah, kind of like Mars.
Yes.
Or like what America would have been like in the 1950s if you were to kind of go through like the Twilight Zone.
Sure.
Like, I don't know. Like, you guys have been, I don't know if you ever like got in a car or anything, but like when you pull into a gas station there, like 6 guys come out in uniforms and like pop your hood and check your oil and like put air in your tires and like, all that kind of stuff.
I didn't have that experience, but
no,
it's just different.
It really is different. And service is just next level. Yeah. But yeah, so that facilitated my move to Japan, which, I ended up meeting my wife there. And she and I got married in 2010. She's not Japanese. She's actually Canadian. So weird, right? But she's from Alberta and I'm from Ontario. Like, we never would have met had that not happened. Like, everything is just this weird circle of like confluence of things that happen for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Does she speak Japanese?
No, she's Canadian.
So, okay. Well, you're also Canadian. And to me, you speak Japanese. I know you just explained that you don't.
Yeah. Well, no, I do. You learn when you're there, right? Like, conversational. And so yeah, 2010, we moved back to Canada. And by that point, I was like pretty much fully recovered. I could play, I could sing. I gigged out while I was in Japan quite a lot, which was a lot of fun. Played with some, sort of minor and semi-major acts.
So how many years did it take you to get 100% back on top from the accident?
2, 3, 3.5, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really only at about 90%, 95% of what I ever was before, but I can still play. I can still,
enjoy. What are your limitations still?
It's more like individual fine motor control for like playing the instrument with the way your fingers move, with certain not chord patterns, like arpeggio patterns, things like this. It's very small, kind of, for the most part, inconsequential, but like, to me, I can tell the difference.
Yeah.
But because I had to kind of relearn to play guitar, it actually gives me a different perspective on the instrument, which is, I think, what gives me my voice now versus before, where I was just kind of like whatever, So like I said, it's kind of a good thing. But 2010 rolled around. Like I said, we moved back to Canada, and all of my if you're lucky enough to get into the music business and then you leave for any length of time longer than about 6 months, like, you might as well be dead, because nobody remembers you.
Wow.
And so everybody I had worked with, everybody that I knew, everybody that I had professional ties with had moved on to like other parts of the industry or completely gone out of the music business. So when I came back to Canada, I wasn't really able to do anything again. I was like,
you had to completely start over.
Yeah, I had to complete. And it was like, because when we moved back, we had nothing. We'd been out of the country for so long. We had like no credit history here. We didn't have credit cards, bank cards, like nothing. It was
just got plopped.
Yeah, we were starting completely fresh over. It was a very challenging time. We were completely broke. And you really learn to rely on another person and on yourself when you're in situations like that. Mm-hmm. And we did a lot of growing during that time. Like, we always kind of laugh, like it was a difficult time, I'm not gonna lie, but we always look back on it and go, you know what, we grew as a couple probably 5 to 10 years in that like 18-month time, maybe 24 months when we moved back to Canada, because of all the hardships that we went through.
Yeah. So what were the first steps you took to sort of get back on your feet in that time?
It was literally taking any job I could find, because I was like, I need money, so I'm gonna do anything. I shoveled asphalt. I drove a honey wagon for a little while, which is like local vernacular for a truck that sucks out porta potties.
Oh, it's not a wagon that carries bottles.
No, it's not. It's not sweet, delicious things. It's poo.
They give it a nice name to sort of soften.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a joke, right? It's the honey way. But yeah, so I did that. I cleaned carpets. I worked for Apple for a time.
Okay.
And but in 2010 too, I had always had this dream. I was like, okay, well, I can't get rich. I can't really have a really good life because of, again, knowing kind of where I came from and kind of what my grandfather went through and the business that he built. I was like, you can't become wealthy working for somebody else. Mm-hmm. So I'd always had this plan. I was like, I'm going to figure it out somehow. And so 2010,
I'm sorry, if I may, does that mean that you were thinking like down the entrepreneurial path, that you wanted to do something with your own business?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay. So have you you've always had that mindset also?
Yes.
I mean, a musician is also kind of an entrepreneur, isn't
it? It's more like, for the most part, as a musician, you're a hired gun. So it's kind of, you're a contractor, or you own your job, really. Yeah. You don't necessarily own a business until you start writing music, and then you own a business because music is an asset, just like a book is.
Yeah.
And so in 2010, I started writing music for film and television. And that started off really, really well. But of course, as everybody knows, the internet comes along and disrupts everything. Mm-hmm. And so 2012, 2013, bottom kind of fell out of that. And where I used to be able to get a contract and, write a tune for a show and get $15,000 to $5,000 up front and then royalties on the back end for years to come, I was now getting $50 or $100 or $200 up front and maybe some royalties. It was bad. Yeah. And so, it was one of those cases of like, okay, well, I'm going to have to get a job again. Yeah. and around that time, my wife and I moved to Calgary, and I started working for Canada's, arguably Canada, I guess it's the second largest internet service provider here. So I worked in the telecom industry for a little while. Mm-hmm. And all the while I was still writing music for film and television and trying my hand at various little like online endeavor things. I never got into FBA because I was always like, that looks like I'm going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah, that looks risky.
Yeah.
Can you share a few of your online endeavors you've tried?
Yeah. So like going back to like when I was in Japan, I actually had like an online English school that I started, and it was called Go Ego. Ego is English language in Japanese. Yep. And so it was all based on Skype. I had a website where people could log on and buy lesson packages in, one lesson at a time, or 5 or 10 or 20 or whatever. And then we would have face-to-face Skype lessons. And it actually did pretty well. I did all of my marketing on YouTube. So I did like a free lesson every single day. And I was like, hey, if you want actual lessons with me, visit my website. I had no idea how to build a website. I was on like blogspot.com and like I made a blog post and like imported like tools and stuff. But like, again, it's like that entrepreneurial mindset of like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm just going to get it done. Mm-hmm. I'll make it
figure it
work.
out. Like, yeah. I'll find a way.
Exactly. I'll figure it out. I'll find a way. I'll make it happen. And I did. And then I it wasn't because I was greedy, but I got this offer to do a big lesson pack purchase. I can't remember. I think he wanted like 30 or 40 lessons. And I was like, oh my God, this is huge. Yeah. I think it was about $8,000.
Okay.
Maybe it was more.
That's what he offered or what you asked?
That's what I was like charging at the time. Yeah. He's like, yeah, no, I'm going to do it, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, oh, but my uncle who lives in New York is going to pay you because I don't have a credit. He lives in Vietnam. And he's like, I don't have a credit card.
Sketchy already.
Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, no, that's totally fine. Sure. No problem. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I got the payment.
I'm naive. Cool. I haven't done this before. Go ahead.
Yep. Sounds good to me. No problem. Payment came through. Everything's good to go. And then about 4.5 weeks later, I get a notice from PayPal. Hey, that was a fraudulent card on that credit card. We're taking all $8,000 back.
Oh no.
I'd already spent that $8,000.
Oh no.
I was like, no, you can't do that.
Yes, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah. So, unfortunately,
it's not your fault.
No. But that's just the way these things go. So that was like my first real taste of online business. It
can only be a scam from there on after.
Right. It can only be a scam. 2010, I did some affiliate marketing for extramarital dating sites. Sketchy as all get out, but it paid really well. But ultimately it was like I did that for 4 or 5 months or something. And I was just like, this is skeezy. This
isn't for me.
Like I couldn't proudly tell my mom what I did.
Yeah.
I didn't tell my wife. I was like, you know what I mean? So like that should tell you, like, you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah. I just looked up what that means. I didn't know what extramarital relationships were. I now know. I want to say it because it's a relationship that you have next to your marriage. Oh, yeah. From what I understand.
Yeah.
I can see like, oh yeah, maybe I don't want to build an entire career around this.
Yeah, exactly. But when you're younger and stupid and need money and like, I can make this work. Like, you know what I mean?
Let's be very clear about this. There is nothing wrong.
No, it's not a judgment call. I have nothing against if that's what you're into or whatever. It wasn't for me. It wasn't a match for my heart, and I couldn't be proud of it. Yeah.
And look, when Christian and I were just starting out and desperate for money, we did some things we weren't proud of either. I think we all have. When you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. I think everyone has a story like that. Everyone.
Yeah. So yeah, that was that one. And then, I mean, of course, I've always been doing the music thing. Like that's always ongoing. Like I'm still getting paid today for music I wrote 11 years ago, which is
passive income, baby.
Yeah, passive income. And then basically kind of stopped any sort of online or entrepreneurial thing for like 2013 to 2019.
Yeah.
Because I was just busy in the world of work. I was working for the man and I was making really good money. I had a union job. I was a union shop steward. And
the man made you comfortable.
The man made me comfortable. The man bought me a house. The man bought me money. You know what I mean? Like I did well.
Sometimes it's hard to say no to because the benefits can be real good. Except the fact that, in my opinion,
have a soul crushing job.
You're a slave to.
Yeah. And 2019, I kind of hit into a really super dark place. I was really, because I didn't like my job. I just did it because I needed the money. And when I was hired, they kind of pitched it to me like, oh, based on your skills, your experience, your education, this is an entry level position, but you'll be able to make it into management probably within 6 months to a year. None of that ever happened. Like I just was pressed down to the floor.
It was a sales pitch.
It was a total sales pitch. They saw somebody that was good with people and they're like, cool, we need you for our frontline teams, and like I said,
what role is this exactly that you had?
I don't want to say necessarily, just again, because of the way that company is. And they have very strict social media policies and stuff like that.
All good.
Even though I'm not saying anything bad about the company, it's like,
yeah.
Because like I said, I mean, I got a lot of really good benefits out of it, healthcare, money, wage, time off, I was able to buy a house. I was able to pay off all my debt. Like these things are good things. But it's an exchange of time for money. Right. So yeah, 2019 rolls around and I'm just like, yeah, this is not for me. I can't do it anymore. I actually, on my YouTube, I did a whole video about it. It was weird because like after all this stuff I got through, I was like, literally, I was waking up in the morning trying to figure out ways that I could like maybe like pretend to fall asleep at the wheel and drive into like incoming traffic. And like, I would die and my wife could get the insurance money. You know what I mean? Like I was in that kind of space and I'm like, hang on, this isn't you. What the hell?
Yeah.
So I literally I manned up and I was like, you know what, guys, I'm done. Here's my 2 weeks. I'm out of here. And that was the end of 2019. I was able to find another job in a completely different field. Ultimately didn't work out. And then I got into another job in the similar field to the one that I was in, but it paid well and I knew I could do the job as a temporary fix. And then COVID hit. And I found you guys.
So
and the rest is history.
So is COVID the reason why you started exploring online business opportunities again?
No, but yes. Because I'd never really stopped. I'd always kind of been looking and like trying to figure out, and I'd always wanted to.
But it put the pressure on, right?
But it really put the pressure on. Yeah, exactly. And because of my experience with the music business, with passive income and owning an asset that pays over many, many, many years. And when I saw the ad with Christian, when you guys were talking about ghost audio, to me, coming from an audio background, I was like, what the hell is ghost? Because it means a very different thing from an audio production standpoint. And
does it mean something in that world?
Yeah. So like basically there's two ways. Basically you can call it transients or you can call it ghost audio. So like when you're recording a signal.
No way.
And there's a reflection off like a back wall or like off of a cymbal or like a snare drum or something, it catches it and there's like a reverberation and it like you get a ping pong or something. And it's this, where's that ghost audio coming from?
Wow.
And you have to isolate it and get rid of it because you want the signal to be super clean and pure just for the instrument that you're recording.
And I never thought that would already have been a thing.
Yeah. I can only imagine what's going through your head, making money with ghost audio.
Yeah. I was like, what?
How do you monetize
I gotta find
that?
out more. And so I watched the thing and I was just like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. I'm in. Let's do it.
To provide a little bit of context on the ghost audio, what it meant to us, it was just this phrase I came up with that stood for ghost written audiobooks, which basically in 2 words explains what the publishing and AIA business model is about.
Right.
And it was just
also secretive on purpose. You're not supposed to know.
Yeah.
Secretive and
no, dudes, great salesmanship.
Like, huh? Yeah.
No, 100%.
So
100%.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
So then Nick joined May 2020-ish.
2020.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now I just want to say, from our perspective, having him as a student, he was instantly like the most active and clearly like the brightest student that we'd had in a long time.
Instantly the star child of the entire community, from the day you stepped in.
Just asking intelligent questions, helping everyone. Because people would ask questions in the community, and then you were so active within the group and already answering people's questions that we thought, you want to just get paid to do what you already do. Want to be the community manager?
Yeah, and it was just like, sure, yeah, that makes sense because
you're already doing it, so why not? This works.
I remember so vividly when you entered the community. Just me and Rasmus would talk about, this Nick Morrison guy is freaking awesome. I even remember our mom reaching out to us. She's like, "Oh, have you guys seen this Nick Morrison in your community? I love him."
Our mom said,
"I love Nick. He's so helpful."
That's nice. Moms love me.
Yeah, I imagine. So. Super awesome.
Yeah. It's been a hell of a journey. It's one of those things where I've been a big believer kind of all the way through along, but like, especially in this last year, maybe last year and a half, you're always one decision away from a completely different life.
Oh man, tell me about it. Yes.
Don't even get me started. Yes.
Christian met his wife on a hike in Maui where if either of them had arrived 5 minutes earlier or later, never would have met.
Yeah. And that's it, whether for good or for bad. But if you move forward with good intention, you put good out into the world and you say yes to interesting and good opportunities, so long as they don't hurt you, your family, people that you care about, good things will continue to happen.
Beautiful.
Really
beautiful. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And that's the story of my time in AIA. I mean, it's how I met you guys. It's how I met, the team. It's how I became the Facebook community manager, and eventually coaching and whatever else. But it's also how I met and, networked with my mastermind group and, was able to learn, and, really stand on the shoulders of giants to be able to get my publishing business completely up off of the ground, and be self-sufficient with it in such a short of time as I did,
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so freaking awesome. Just the way everything's unfolded for you. And I just the first question I was going to ask about publishing is what was the day you published your first book? Do you remember?
I want to hear the whole experience, the first book, how it went, how it's doing now.
Well, okay. So I've talked about this on one of the Q&A calls a couple weeks back, maybe a month or so. And I actually had, because of my time in the company that I had worked at, and I had a whole lot of weird and crazy and wacky and wild stuff happen to me, I had written a memoir.
Okay.
Because people
right.
Yeah,
yes.
People were always telling me like, oh, you should write a book. Like, these stories are so funny and blah, 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 blah. And so part of the other reason that I was like, oh, this course is perfect is because like, I've got this book I want to publish, but I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how, blah, blah, blah. And so I kind of put the two together, full well knowing once I was, most of the way through the course, I was kind of like, oh, this book is not going to work.
Does not fit the criteria here.
Nobody cares. Right. And I mean, I've got a small marketing and email list that I've built up over the past, 15 odd years. And I was able to blast it out and I actually did pretty well. It sold a bunch of copies. I made some money. Cool. Awesome. It has not sold a single page since like December.
No way.
Whatever. Cause it's just it's written on a pen name because I don't want to, out myself again with the company that I used to work for and whatever. And again, there's nothing bad in it, but it just the way things go. But an unknown author with this comedy memoir kind of thing, whatever. But yeah, that book was published, I think it was June 13th. And I remember I was like, cause I had it loaded up. I think it was 2 days. I had everything loaded up and approved on KDP, but I hadn't like hit go live yet.
It's like, it's a big thing.
And it was one of those things I was just like, what the hell am I waiting for? Like, just do it. Why are you, And so finally I just did. And I was like, I went to bed, or I sent out my email saying, hey, the book's going to be live tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. I went to bed, woke up, the book was live, and it had already sold like, I don't know, 15 or 20 copies. And I was like, yes, did it, and then I got to work hardcore on the AIA method, which is what I call it. And or what you guys call it.
No, you call it. We all call it.
Yeah, what everybody calls it. And then that first book of the AIA method, because I'd actually been kind of getting everything prepped and done before June, and then the book was out, I think maybe third week of July was my first AIA book. Yeah.
And is that still the niche that you publish in to this day? Because I know no. So it's not that niche.
No, it's completely different. So that niche, and it's funny because I talk about this with students, and I feel bad saying it, but it's like I got the whole sleek thing right away because it made sense to me. I was just like, oh, we're figuring out how to sell a best-selling book. Okay, cool, done.
And it does for, I don't know. Yeah, when we created, I was like, I think this is really simple, and it just makes sense. And I figured this was as simple as we could possibly make it, and everyone's going to pick it up.
The other stuff didn't come as easy, like the marketing stuff, trying to figure out active campaign, like all of that kind of stuff, nitty gritty. I was just like, I wanted to pull my hair out, but the finding the keywords was really easy. But yeah, that whole thing developed and built. I ended up hitting full-time income by October, I think September, October last year. And I was poised. I was like, December is going to be the month. I had like 4 books out, 1 bundle. I had another book kind of coming. ACX had just like pushed through like 3 codes. So I had like audiobooks ready to go.
And then something happened.
My amazing December never happened.
So, because, I mean, that could be niche dependent, other factors. I'm not sure. What was it on par with your October, November, or did it go down?
Oh no, it dropped. I in November, I think I made $8,500. And then in December, I made like 1,200.
Wow. Okay. What the heck happened?
Like, talk about a shot in the guts, right?
So I could imagine that October, November, a lot of your business was carried by 1 or 2 books, and then they died off.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Because that would be the only explanation for such a quick drop off if it's all in 1 or 2 books.
Yeah. Because I mean, I really, like I said, I only had 4 anyway. So I had like 3 singles in a bundle, right?
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And the bundle hadn't picked up enough steam yet to be really doing anything, and book 2 and 3 were doing okay, but it was like book 1 was just like this beacon. I was like, yes, this is gonna, unfortunately, and I mean, I don't mind sharing with you guys if you want to hear about it. I mean, might as well share to the community. And it's funny because things again kind of happen for a reason. So getting back to that whole extramarital affair thing, I thought it would be really good, and the numbers looked fantastic. I wrote a pickup artist book, or a series of them actually.
Apex Mail, is that what it's called?
Yeah, Apex Mail.
If that's okay, I say.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. But the idea was, it was more about like being like an ethical dating guy, but to get out and meet ladies, meet women, and do it through social media, do it through in-person interactions, et cetera. And then Amazon changed their policies in terms of advertising keywords, and anything with attracting women sounds predatory, which in retrospect, I guess it does. And so that keyword was in all of my books, and now none of those can.
So that's what caused it. That's the steep drop off was.
Long story short, that's what caused it.
Man.
Yeah. But again, it was kind of one of those things where it wasn't really in alignment with who I was. I was just looking at the numbers going, I see there's good profitability here. I'm going to just jump in on it. And I was in kind of come the end of November, beginning of December, I was like, really like, I don't really want to be in this niche anymore. So I was in the process of getting a new book,
rethinking, starting to create a vision for a real big brand and so on.
Yeah. And put that into fruition, or into process. And so like, I knew, like, once the numbers from December were in, I was like, okay, well, that just does it for me there anyway. Like, I made the best decision I possibly could have made. And come January 11th, I launched the first book of my new brand, and it's been smashing it, which is really good. I'm very, very excited about it.
I'm really excited about seeing what you do over the coming years with your brand, because it's something that's going to snowball to a point where this is going to be the opportunity you have in front of you that I cannot say with near certainty is going to become true, is just huge.
Yes.
we've seen it done already by others,
Yes.
and you're just time just needs to run its course.
Yeah, it's just got to sit and marinate a little bit. The
Yeah.
flywheel is primed. It's speeding up,
Mhm.
and I have a lot of different spokes moving. So I know, I don't know how in depth you guys want me to kind of get about stuff, because I mean,
Very in depth.
a lot of what I'm doing is obviously AIA, like what you guys teach and how we do it, but I've kind of gone off the deep end with it, and I've gone into like a lot of advanced level stuff. So like I have a full website.
I'm curious. I'm curious to hear this.
Right.
I know a bit about it, but I don't know the full
Yeah.
story. Again, that's an incredible thing to do for a publishing business. The reason we don't teach it is because, people already get super overwhelmed by figuring out the topic of their book.
Yeah. And I mean, I couldn't have done this if you went back to the full year ago, I wouldn't have been able to do what I wanted to do now.
Yeah.
Like the only reason I'm able to do what I can do now is because I put in that work over that 6-8 months and learned all the lessons that I needed to learn. And now I can launch this bigger brand. So I have books on Amazon, which feed to my website. So obviously through the lead magnet website, I have courses that are available. Actually, they're not available yet. They're going live next month.
Yes.
So I have courses that are available. I have download lesson packs. I have merch, hats, t-shirts, buttons, stickers, all that kind of fun stuff.
Yes.
And it's fun. People love just goofy stickers and weird one-off things.
Yeah.
Like my best seller, I'm out actually, but it was like a hand warmer, like a beanbag thing you put in the microwave and you heat it. I'm like, okay,
that's what your audience of book buyers, of readers is buying from you.
Yeah, I don't know, but
did they request that item from you?
No, I just saw it and I thought it was goofy, and I was like, I'm gonna put that on the store. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Do you use a certain print-on-demand service?
Yeah, so like my website's based with Shopify,
right?
And then I have fulfillment partners that are essentially print on demand, so very similar to what Amazon does. Mm-hmm. I use Printify, which is funny because it sounds exactly like Shopify. And then I have ebook delivery. Of course, I can do right online through there. Print book is Lulu, and then what's the other one for merch? Actually, they just closed down, so I've got to find another one for like some of the dry goods stuff.
Yeah, we use Printful for our t-shirts. It's been good enough. We looked at Printify as well and a bunch of other ones.
Yeah.
Can I ask some? Actually, I would love to hear your take on this because it heavily applies to us. So you do your own fulfillment of your print books. When I say your own, I mean off of Amazon with Lulu.
Yes.
So we're about to jump into that world where because we're coming out with the book called The Freedom Shortcut, going to be launching in the next few weeks. And we're going to be doing our own fulfillment off of Amazon through our own funnels, our own, like we have big plans with it. So,
and we need to save printing costs.
And we're
going to be slaying by the many to hundreds of thousands, millions.
Yeah.
Too.
So would you or would you not recommend Lulu for us? Like
so far it's been good. I've enjoyed it. I think their fulfillment looks good. I think it actually looks better in terms of their print quality. It looks better than what Amazon does.
That's really important to me. So you better than Amazon.
So how does reviews
it compare to Ingram
Sparks? Ingram Sparks printing is, I would say it's on par with Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark does a better job printing. Like they're just like their paper quality and their ink quality is just sharper than Amazon. And it's like, it's not, to an untrained eye or to like an uncritical eye, you might not even ever notice.
Yeah.
Right. But like for people like us that are in this and we're having these things created and we're seeing a lot of books, and I see a lot of my competitors that are using like Amazon print on demand and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, and it's funny too, because a lot of people, you can tell the people that are in it just for profit because they print on like, and this is gonna sound bad, but they print on the cheapest stock possible and it's all black and white and like the formatting is just and like these kind of things. Whereas like I'm like, no, I'm going full high gloss paper, like let's make this thing look like the best it can look.
And I'm gonna charge more for it.
And I'm gonna charge more for it. Absolutely.
Premium products, baby.
My first book that's out, the one that's currently out right now, is actually a loss leader. So the whole entire purpose basically is to get leads that pay for themselves. But I'm not making really any money with the book itself.
That's the beautiful thing about publishing.
Yeah.
You can get leads at a profit. Thousands of leads a month and make money getting leads. And then, whatever you want to sell them later on is
and that
your profit.
And that feeds the book feeds the website, The website feeds the Facebook group. The Facebook group feeds the Amazon. The Facebook group feeds the thing. And then I've got another layer where it feeds YouTube. So I've got a YouTube channel, which also acts as a funnel to Amazon, to the website, to my Facebook group. And it's all just like this big thing that just feeds itself, and it grows.
What a
and it grows and it grows and it grows.
beautiful system.
And this is why I feel like every business in the world can use a book to
100%.
get leads,
If nothing
get out
else,
there,
just one book.
Right.
Yeah.
Just one.
Every single business in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to quickly tell you about what we're going to do with the Freedom
totally.
Shortcut. And I'm curious to hear if what we're going to do could fit with you as well. I mean, I know it could. I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on it.
Sure.
So we're going to be launching our book on Amazon, and really the purpose of launching on Amazon is we want to hit #1 on all of Amazon. So it's more just, #1 on all of Amazon. It takes about 20,000 sales, I've heard. So again, we're not there to make money. We're there to get the #1 bestsellers tag. So we're just pushing the 99-cent ebook. No print books, no audiobooks, no nothing like that. And we feel very confident that we can do it just because we have a lot of marketing firepower on our side, a really big email list. So we're just going to pump that.
Yeah, it's all numbers.
It's all numbers. It's a numbers game. So, one of the best marketing titles you can have for a book is, hey, we hit #1 on all of freaking Amazon with this book. It's like, okay, I want that book now. #1 on all of Amazon. Shit, so that's the purpose of Amazon, just to get that title. Totally. Where the real money is going to be in it for us and the company is when we take it off of Amazon and run it through our own funnel. So what we're going to be doing is a free plus shipping funnel.
Oh, nice. Okay, free plus shipping model.
Yes. So where get this print book entirely for free. We're going to ship it to you. All we ask is you cover the $9.95 in shipping and handling.
Yeah, whatever the shipping cost. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a great offer because a free print book, like getting an actual physical product for free, is so different than an ebook for free. Yep. People don't value that the same way. When you hold it in your hands, it has a whole different level of value.
Yes.
But anyway, so that's the first offer, and then it goes into an upsell funnel where, hey, wait, before I send you your receipt, I want to give you this one-time opportunity to get this or that, some $47 offer, maybe some sort of mini course. We haven't figured it out yet. Yep. And then one more offer after that for a $97 thing. And then hopefully the way it should work is that whole funnel should liquidate the ad cost that it took to get the free book sale.
Yeah.
And then inside the book is going to push the main offer, which is going to be our program, of course. So we're getting people to read the book, theoretically, if we pull it off, for free. Yes. Free readers. So any money we make after that is pure profit.
Yes.
Have you considered doing something like that for yourself, or where's your head at with what you want to do to blow up your business?
Yeah. So I'm a little bit in a different position because I'm not at the same level, obviously, as you guys are, but I don't have that large of an audience yet. Because like I said, I really only launched the brand in January of this year, even though like I've had the YouTube channel since like 2010, 2011. But the idea for now is to build it up where book 1, book 2, cool, great. Those are going to be like the pillars for like book 2 will actually sell and make a buttload of money. And then I'm expecting book 3 and 4 to kind of do the same thing. And the idea there is to then build all of those books through the same kind of things, through the same kind of funnel, get them into the email list. And then from there, offer them either a membership to the course, membership to my course platform, or a one-time offer course. I have not got to the point yet because I'm thinking about it. I'm like, the next logical step then is to go, okay, cool. Well, now you've learned from me, you know who I am, blah, blah, blah. Those of you that are interested, I can teach you how to do what I do. And that's where like the big money comes in. But I'm probably 2 years out from that.
Yeah. Probably. Right. It's a process. You don't want to jump into that.
No, you can't jump the gun because let's be honest, not everybody is going to have the kind of money to go from your first course to your second course or your first offer to the second offer. Like you have to qualify and find the right people to match to that.
I'm curious, what do you think, you must have thought about it, is the most that you can charge for an offer in your niche?
Oh, geez.
Can you charge $5,000 for something in your niche?
So for a business offer, 100%.
Oh yeah, 100% for a business offer.
Yeah.
Specifically
for specifically the niche that I'm doing in terms of like what I teach to students, I think 5,000 would be like far too much. I'm playing around with the idea of, because I want to make it, I'm looking at volume plus profitability. So I'm thinking kind of like a 599 is probably going to be where I'm at for that initial. And it could even get as high as 999 because I've checked out my competition and I see what they do. Nobody does this yet, which is kind of the interesting thing to me. They all have like the subscription model where they're charging like $10.99 a month. So, which is barely anything.
How are you making money?
You've got recurring revenue because if you've got 10,000 subscribers times $10.99 a month times 4 or 5 years, okay, well now you've sucked $5,000 out of that person.
Definitely. What you should have is the higher ticket offer, you know, $499 or up to $999, and that recurring one you just mentioned. Have both one, now you get the book.
Well, and so this is because we were talking also like about decentralizing like off of Amazon. Like the reason for using Printful, the reason for using Lulu, the reason for directly selling your ebooks right off your website is so that you don't have to pay Amazon commissions. You don't have to pay Amazon delivery fees, which like, why are we paying them to deliver an ebook? Anyway, sorry, Jeff, I love you. You're awesome.
Don't terminate me.
Yeah, right. But that's why you do it on your own website so that you can take more control. And we've got control of the email list anyway. So that customer is ours. We can own that entire customer experience and treat them the way that they need to be treated. Because let's face it, if you put a middleman like Amazon in the way, stuff can get messed up and they're going to have to call Amazon support. And I mean, it is next level because you have to either yourself or hire somebody to deal with customer service issues. But like none of it is insurmountable. And it's just people. You know, like we're not solving nuclear science. We're selling books. We're selling courses.
Here's what I think. I think there's two of the biggest downsides to selling your books on Amazon is number one, you don't get their email address after you sold them something.
Yes.
Because, you know, you can sell 100 ebooks in a day. If that was on your own platform, you now have 100 leads on top of the sales you just made.
Yes.
You know, But, you know, I mean, that's what makes Amazon, I guess.
Yeah. The other fun thing is when you have a web store, you can also give away free e-downloads. Very helpful. These are like they're little lead magnets in and of themselves, but they have to go through your checkout. And guess what? You get their email.
There you go. Exactly.
And it costs them nothing and it costs you virtually nothing.
Yep.
But
right. And you just don't have to play in Amazon's sandbox because, you know, you could be doing, like, not to scare anyone who's listening, but you could be doing nothing wrong. And one random day, you know, their AI could have picked up on some weird double login and then you get your account terminated. You know, it's possible. We've dealt with that.
Or you have seemingly innocuous words like attract women in your books and they go, nope, we can't have that anymore.
And then they kill your business because of it. But I want to say just to wrap up, off of Amazon, you're the boss.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best play is start on Amazon because there's, as we know, so many benefits to it. And
then tons of benefits.
The free traffic. I mean,
and I mean, for everybody, this model, like what I'm doing, what you guys are doing, which is huge, it's not for everybody. You know, there are people that are just like, no, you know what? I'm totally happy making an extra $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, whatever. As a royalty from Amazon, I don't have to do accounting. I don't have to hire anybody to look at my books. I don't have to do I can just handle it. And that's beautiful.
It is beautiful. What the three of us are doing is just something very different than that.
Yeah.
You know,
to me, like an Amazon publishing business that's the kind of business that I want to have when I'm retired. You know, it's low stress. It's easy. There's not all this pressure. You do it on your own pace. If you don't want to do anything, fine. You just move at a slower pace. Nothing.
Yeah.
You really get hurt in any way.
No.
So, but right now, the name of the game is just.
Yeah, absolutely.
People can't see what you're doing.
Oh yeah. People can't see what I'm doing.
He's gathering traffic and
I'm gathering
toward him.
Because
let's face it, we live in an information age. We live in an attention economy. So your attention is either going to come in Facebook clicks, Instagram looks, likes, YouTube watches, or email opens.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever the next big thing is, TikTok, NFT,
TikTok,
zibbity zabbity,
TikTok's
whatever.
coming up.
Now I sound like an old man, right? Young kids
All
and your
these
zibbity zabbity
TikTokers.
platforms. Back in my day, we only had MySpace.
Okay, I have one final question before we wrap this up. This is
Okay.
This has been a really fun conversation. This is random, but I wanted to
Sure.
ask you before. You're going to be launching a course within your niche
Yes.
in the next few weeks or so.
Yeah.
What's the price you're going to launch at?
Oh, sorry. That's not the big course. The one that I'm going to be doing next month, it's like $49.99. So it's a small one. Again, it's kind of training customers to spend money with you.
I figured it wasn't like the main thing. Yeah.
I like training them to buy from you.
Yeah, and it's building trust. Like, and it sounds manipulative, but it's not. And it's just, you know, Ollie talks about customers. It comes from the word custom. They custom your website. They're custom to interact with you and to give you money for valuable things that you provide them. And if you can, again, you ingrain that relationship, you teach customers that they get something valuable from you when they give you something valuable, which is their money, their time, whatever it happens to be. And so, yeah, it usually starts with those smaller offers. Yeah,
exactly. Like, so when you create that relationship,
the book will play the same role for us. This will be people's first purchase from us. They've spent money with us, and then they'll be more comfortable moving.
Exactly. When you can create that experience with your customers, you're going to create this group of people that where whatever you put out, they're going to buy it because they know that when they exchange money with you, they have a really fantastic experience. You know, so
yeah, exactly. And make sure it's a fantastic experience.
Exactly. See that,
right?
That's the most important part in this entire process.
Yeah. If you just fire off any old thing and send them an email and like, there you go. Like people are they're smart. They know that it's low effort and you don't care.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So,
all right. This was a pleasure, Nick.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. It was a pleasure. I'm glad I got a chance.
It's a fun conversation. We learned a lot about your past and what you've been through. And
wow,
a little bit about where I'm going.
I was kind of taken back for like a few minutes there when you told about your car crash. That really hit me.
I've had my 2 times I've had
near
death experiences as well that people don't know about. Maybe we'll talk about that at some point in the future. No, not now. We'll keep people.
That's an episode for later. The near death podcast.
I often forget about that.
Yeah, it doesn't really affect me. People always think like, "Wow, aren't you worried about this or that happening?" No. Ooh, what could he be talking about?
Right? Ooh, it's the hook for next time.
Yeah. All right, this was awesome, Nick.
Thanks a ton, Nick, for taking the time to do this.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to end on is we really freaking love you. You're just such a fantastic guy, and thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If we don't say it enough.
No, and I do. I mean it. I thank you, and I don't know if you'll be using it in the next webinars or whatever. But like I gave that testimonial for that first one from last year or whatever. It was like, you guys saved my life. So I appreciate it. I owe you a lot, and that's why I'm here. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Your video testimonial is literally the best one that we have. I swear to God, it's
just so good on camera and speaking,
so genuine. Stories. Yeah, but anyway, okay, we could talk for a long time, but let's.
All right, thank you, and good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.